Hello, I'm sitting here with my dear friend Thea Trussler, and we met over 10 years ago back in Nelson, back in the day, in our Kootenai days. And we have since reconnected, and I got wind that she was leading these magical sacred tours to Ireland a number of years ago. And so I knew that when the time came for me to lead a retreat to Ireland, that she was my girl. So Thea, tell us a bit about your history with Ireland and all the times that you've led these wonderful tours. Tell us about it.
Oh, wow. Well, 2011, I went over to write a book, and I had a little cottage by the sea all on my own, and started making connections with people, and just the land spoke to me. Everything was easier. There were doors being opened up for me everywhere, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the country, the people, the smell of the air. Even every time I get off the plane, the feel of the air on your skin is different. It's like you're being gently touched. It's remarkable. And so I came home talking so much about this, and I had friends going, "Oh my goodness, that's on my bucket list. I want to go to Ireland." And doors continued to open, so it happened again the next year, and then I was doing it a couple times a year. I was bringing friends over, and I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I would love to do a retreat because I know the lay of the land. I know how to drive on the opposite side now. I had connections to all the right places. And my happy place in the winter was to go online and just start doing searching around Ireland for ideas. And I saw on the map a little place called Anthea. I'm like, well, I think that Thea needs to go to Anthea.
Yes.
So I Googled bed and breakfast, and the first thing that came up was Springfield Castle. So I'm like, oh, I can't afford to do this. There's no way. But I had to look because it was January and I had nothing else to do. It was better than Netflix. And I did the math and I figured out, oh my goddess, this is the place to do that retreat that I've been talking about. I have so many talented friends. And so that was in 2016, 15, where we did a formalized retreat at that point. And we had Satkar Khalsa at the time. He usually comes for doing yoga pieces, and we had Dimpno Halloran, which I understand you're going to be able to chat with later.
Yes.
And a few others, so rotating different practitioners coming in and finding your authentic path. And so that first one, we ended up meeting Lord Robert, who is the 9th Baron of Muskerry, who owns the land and the title to the land, and he happened to be there. So we learned all sorts of other things about the castle and the history that very few know, because he couldn't wait to tell everything from the magical mystical to the historical aspects, and then there was the ghostio stories as well. And just because the land had had so many activities, last year I had Kimmy King come along. And Kimmy is an Indigenous teacher, goddess in her own right. She does so much amazing work. And we were going to do a healing of the land. And who happens to be back in town again? I don't know if it was timed because he had so much fun with the retreat before. But Lord Robert was there again, and he lives in South Africa, so it's not like just popping over from Dublin.
Right.
And we did a healing of the land because there have been wars on that land, and there have been so many incredibly terrible times that the Irish have gone through. So we did this healing of the land, and you could feel it. And where we have our sacred fire, where we're going to do belting, and I've been told how to say it in a different way, and we'll correct both of us.
Okay.
Well, where the fire is, they found a hermit hut that had been buried under brush and bramble for decades.
Wow.
And yeah, it was very cool. So it's this, like it's a little stone hut, and on the floor, there's a star that's carved into the floor. And then there's also a poem that had been written and was carved onto another stone. And I won't share the poem with you now because you have to be there to really appreciate it.
You have to
But
come
to
to
sit in
find
that
out.
hermit hut for the meditation pieces. So part of those or the retreats that we were doing, I was focusing mostly on the West because that's the really old country. So going into the Burren, where there's Neolithic sites and passage tombs and fairy forts, up along the coastline, then going to the Cliffs of Moher, where you can feel the power rushing through your soul when the winds and sometimes the rain. And then on to St. Bridget's Well, and there's never anybody there. It's such a quiet spot and such a sacred space. It's just like 2 minutes from the cliffs. So there's lots more story around that. And then you boogie around the corner, and there's Lahinch, the surf town. I'm like, what? Surfing in Ireland? Are you serious? So little juxtapositions of reality of Irish current and historic life that we were going through, from Neolithic sites to surfers.
Yes. Yeah.
And
the ancient to the modern. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. And the magic that people were experiencing there, like the first tour or the first retreat that I had, there were like the businessmen. They're all like shirt and tie kind of guys, and quite serious. And they were just along because their wives said, we're going and we're staying in a castle, that's it. And they had profound experiences. So my psychic aerobics course, it was near the end. Usually I do it at the beginning, but it was near the end. And this very serious businessman participated, and he got it right away. He said, I've just had this transformation here, and part of it was going into St. Bridget's Well. He came out in tears. It was moving for him. He's of Irish descent, and there was just a new sparkle that happened for him. Just opening up. Things that you didn't know about yourself were unfolding. Your skills, your abilities to listen on the higher level.
Yes.
Between being at a site and feeling like there's a vibration, or I've been here before. Yeah. Going to the standing stones at Loch Gur, which is the Grange Stone Circle. Yes. And we're going to be there on Beltane Day.
Yes.
Ceremony the day after we have the Beltane evening, which will include live musicians. I'm trying to talk a very special lady goddess musician of an iconic family to come and sing for us. So I think I've got her, and some other world famous musicians to come and play for our feast night. And then we'll have a Beltane fire, and then the next day to do a sacred circle in a sacred circle. And I had the most powerful experiences there. This is the largest standing stone structure in all of Europe. It's got 113 stones, and there's nothing like it anywhere. Then New Grange, we're ending our tour, and I'm so grateful that this has worked out to end our tour on a new moon at New Grange. And New Grange is 5,000 years old, give or take a couple of hundred. Now, this is older than the pyramids. It's older than Stonehenge, and it's one of the many passage tombs that are through that valley called the Boyne Valley. And so the winter solstice, the sun only comes through that one day through New Grange. The winter or the summer solstice goes through another one, Nouth. It's called Nouth. And they've just discovered some new structures because they had a drought this past summer. So the land changed with it not being all 40 shades of green. It was brown. And so it created these new structures. So it's like the Valley of the Kings. But every time I go there, I'm vibrating with energy. You can't do this at Stonehenge. You cannot touch the stones at Stonehenge anymore. But you can in Ireland. You can get right in there. You can walk across the fields. There's no little, gateway. You put a toonie into the farmer's box to help him maintain the land, but we can still touch those 5,000-year-old carvings.
Wow.
Getting all excited just.
Yeah, I know. You've just touched on, everything that that I hoped you would. Some of these very sacred sites that we'll be visiting, as well as the natural beauty of the cliffs of Moore. The Beltane Festival that you're helping organize, the musicians and the feast, and we're going to have a fire on the land at Springfield Castle, and then the following day on May Day at the Grange Stone Circle. And then and I loved how you shared that experience of of that man that came on the retreat and had a transformational experience and woke up to his own intuition. And your workshop on the psychic aerobics is on one of our first days, so that will really be a big part of what we're gathering together to deepen into our intuitive skills and being able to.
I'm wanting that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wanting that so much, to have it at the beginning, so that all these sites, you're going to be able to use the skills that you've learned in the workshop and be able to send you out there to, okay, what are you feeling? What are the stories?
Yeah.
And part of it is ether physics. And I'll tell you all about that, though, but you have to be a part of the retreat.
That's right. You got to come if you're going to get it all. So that is, it's just amazing. And then, finishing, we're going through the holy day of Beltane, and then also a new moon. And we're actually concluding with a new moon closing circle. And we will have been at Newgrange that day and visiting the Stone of Destiny on the hill of Tara, which was an ancient coronation site.
Yeah, it's quite the picture, though. You'll make your own deductions about what it looks like. And there's a fairy tree, a wish tree, on the hill of Tara as well.
Oh,
yeah. Brought me to tears. You can see 4 counties from up there. They say you can see all of Ireland, but apparently it's 4 counties.
Right. Beautiful. Well, so everyone listening, if you are feeling the stirrings in your soul and you're feeling Ireland call you, join us to Awaken the Goddess Within in Ireland. We will be facilitating and hostessing a magical 9 days. Thea, myself, and Justine. And so please be in touch, peruse the information page, and it's April 27th to May 4th, next spring, 2019. So we hope that you will be joining us.